Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. Today our documentary video will be based on the event of Iraq War 2003 using Constructivism theory. Before we start, let us introduce ourselves first. Hello, I'm Nurul Amira and I will talk about Constructivism. The term of Constructivism coined by Nicholas Enough in 1989, where Constructivism is international theory that concerns with role of identity and social practice in international system. It associated with the end of the Cold War, and that is largely because of dominant paradigms at the time. Realism and liberalism could not really explain or predict the end of the Cold War, which led to the existence of Constructivism. That international politics is a social construct that has potential to change. Constructivism argued that there is nothing short of nature or given in social practice by studying in the nature of reality, which known as ontology, and the nature of knowledge, which known as epistemology and research language. According to Nicholas Weller, he said that we can think constructivism as we think of money. When we stop assigning any meaning to either one of those, they have no meaning in themselves. They lost their significance. It means that the identity shape how states think about their interests, and in the international system matter according to the constructivists, because they give actor interest, and those interests tell us about how actor might behave or react. While in the article of Anarchy is what state make of it, written by Alexander Wade, said that anarchy can be interpreted in different ways depending on the actor ascribed to it. When the structure of anarchy is not driven but it is constituted through mutual agreement of norms and rules, then states short of come to disagreement between them.
Assalamualaikum, I am Athirah. So I will be explaining about the summary of Iraqi War 2003 and what are some of the intervention behind the war. The Iraqi War 2003, which also referred as the Second Persian Gulf War, was the continuation of the First Iraqi War. After the First War ended, the Iraqi forces were expelled from Kuwait, and the US soldiers sought to protect the Kurdish and Shiite minorities in Iraq by enforcing no-fly zones and launching airstrikes against strategic sites such as oil fields and military bases. But following Saddam Hussein's repeated refusal to cooperate with the UN weapons inspectors, the US passed the Iraqi Liberation Act, which officially solidified goal to change the regime in the country, which is to topple the Saddam Hussein administration. In the late of 2002, the US began building case against the Ba'athist government of Iraq, where the Bush administration has a laundry of justification for the armed intervention, which includes the claimed ties to Al-Qaeda terrorism attacks, mistreatments of civilians, which resulting them wanted to abolish Saddam Hussein regime, and the accusation of Iraq has weapon mass of destruction. Therefore, the US government, along with its allies, which is the United Kingdom, Australia, and Holland, combined their force troops to invade Iraq. Prior to attack, the Bush administration stressed that the possibility of Iraq leaving their WMD will threaten their security as well as their allies. Therefore, they sought the support from the UN Security Council to invade Iraq. However, many UN Security Council were opposed to the proposed invasion, and they insisting the US government to pursue a diplomatic solution instead. And not just that, during that time, a month before the war began, which on the 15th February 2003, there were massive insurgency that created by the whole people in the world, which opposed the invasion of Iraq. The demonstration includes Melbourne and Sydney in Australia, Seoul in Korea, Istanbul in Turkey, and New York. To sum up, there were approximately 36 million people all across the world that didn't support the Iraqi war. Apparently, the US has already sent their CIA teams to lay the groundwork to do the full-scale invasion along with other alliances. By the states, Saddam regime is doomed.
Hi, I'm Ainur. The next part is factors that led to Iraqi war. The first factor was US wants to end the dictatorial rule of Saddam and the abolishment of his regime, which would introduce democracy and peace to the region. To maintain power, he used fear, intimidation, and violence. He was accused by an Iraqi court of committing Amira's massacre during his rule. This included the 1982 slaughter of Shia in the town of Dujail and the 1988 Halabja massacre, in which he used chemical weapons against a Kurdish town that dared to rise against him. The next reason for Iraq invasion is the United States wants to destroy Iraqi weapons of mass destruction. The Bush administration based its rationale for the Iraq war on the claim that Iraq had a weapon of mass destruction program, and that Iraq posed a threat to the United States and its allies. No clear capability, especially, were deemed sufficiently alarming to incite the war. However, Bush administration was wrong about Saddam's weapon of mass destruction capabilities, since there is no active program found until now. United States also claimed that Iraq had supported Al-Qaeda in terrorist attack that happens in United States. United States official falsely accused Saddam of harboring and supporting Al-Qaeda. Bush administration official alleged that Saddam Hussein regime had an operational relationship with Al-Qaeda based on sketchy evidence, and which intelligence official rejected.
Hello, I am Nur Hazwani Hazirah. Let's see how the Iraq war related with constructivism theory. In applying the constructivism theory to Iraq war, which the point that led to the existence of the constructivism theory in this event is when the President of the United States raised up the idea that accused Iraq is involved in the weapon of mass destruction, and that idea was supported by the other countries that have same idea with United States. In Iraq war, terms of belief mostly used in that event. Strategic culture is one of the points that nations able to use the power of influence and force as they take it to conquer. The United States able to influence and force Iraq, and US forced Saddam Hussein to leave Iraq, but Saddam Hussein refused to leave because he wanted to protect the nation. US feels threatened, and that's why the conflict occurred and constant enmity exists. Next, the belief by United States to achieve the geopolitical interest towards Iraq and grab the economic interests. United States also believe that Saddam Hussein is one of the challenges in spite of their political interests. From that, US believe that by rid of Saddam Hussein, they able to conquer and influence Iraq. It will give some space to Israel to stay in Iraq land. Moreover, the conspirationist state with Israel ever stated that the Iraq able to treat them. By accusing Iraq involved the WMD, they success to trigger the conflict to stop Iraq from continue the process of WMD as for the nation's security. WMD actually not exist, and United States also believe Iraq is collaborate with Islamic militant groups like Al-Qaeda.
As a conclusion, constructivist interpretation of the US invasion of Iraq is a return to first-order issues such as how threats are recognized, how enemies are labeled, and how groups come to imagine danger. After the terrorist attack in 11 September 2001, which is a series of 4 coordinated terrorist attacks by the Wahhabi terrorist group Al-Qaeda, the Bush administration increasingly began to frame a narrative that connected rogue states and international terrorism weapon of mass destruction, and thus began to inflate the threat both agents posed to United States security. The American invasion of Iraq in March 2003 had toppled the brutal authoritarian government of Saddam Hussein, but unleashed a massive sectarian civil war that has no end in sight. That is all from us. Thank you for watching.